to Waste podcast. And without even an explanation necessary, I guess you can see that I am not in the studio the way that I normally am when we're having this particular call. And so I want you to imagine in the background, it kind of ties nicely into our topic today. Basically, it's the importance as we get to this point in our lives where there are more years behind us than ahead of us. We have to actually start planning how things go. And the idea that I want to share with you today is the importance of creating a garden. It is very important that in order to achieve our maximum potential, that we actually build a garden. And in that garden are individuals that actually believe in our best. The most important thing about life is that it's very easy to surround ourselves with people that are just onlookers. These are people that, for whatever reason, they are with you, but they're not necessarily for you. So, when I was thinking about this concept of creating a garden, imagine building, because you now have the ability to create something absolutely spectacular. And the way that you'll do it is by associating yourself with individuals that not just have your back, but individuals that you have cultivated the relationships that actually inspire you, motivate you, cause you to dream, to think, and to appreciate the best that life has to offer. We've just gone through a period of time, not just in our country, but around the world, where we've been taught to look at all of the negative, absolutely everything that's wrong. We focus on the negative, we don't focus on the positive. So instead of the fact that, hey, we're in a pretty decent environment here, we focus on the fact that there's also a train track behind us and there are a lot of cars over to the side moving. No, we're going to focus on the fact that this is our best moment and we have an opportunity together to do something that many people only dream of. So, in cultivating this garden, I want you to imagine each and every person that's in the garden of your life. This is a person that you specifically chose. And I would remind us, each person that's watching, of the rainforest. The rainforest, which now is one of the most amazing, spectacular, it's one of the greatest things in the world. It's like a sight to see. Everyone that's gone to take a look at the rainforest, they're like amazed that the rainforests are so vast, so expansive, and they are able to support such enormous and diverse species and life forms. But the rainforest, they believe, was actually started as a garden that actually grew to the point that it could sustain remarkable species. And just like in our lives, we have the ability to cultivate a garden of individuals around us that actually believe with us that we can and will achieve greatness. So that means we're going to have to take a look at each and every person. Now, obviously, family, we can't quite change that. I was sharing that with one of my sons, and I have three of them, incredible guys. I said, you can't choose your family. So the family is always a part of your garden. However, we can keep certain species, certain plants in the garden. Some are invasive species, some have more thorns, and we have to put them in specific areas in our garden. Why is this important? Why not identify the people that actually believe that you can reinvent yourself? Put those people in your garden, as well as the people that make you feel excited about life. Have them in your garden. And also in your garden, you should have individuals that are just there because they're proud to be a part of your life. They're proud to be in your garden. And at the same time, there are individuals that you may be nurturing or mentoring. Let's put them in the garden. And all of these people that will be in some form or fashion in the garden of your life, these people will take on roles of significance. These will be people that you celebrate accomplishments with. These will be people that you vacation with and you travel with. But these should also be people that not simply inspire you, but these should be people that challenge you to be better than you are. People that don't just accept you for who you are, they should challenge you in a healthy, positive, motivating way to be all that you can become. Today, this morning, I was actually looking at something called the DSM-3 Diagnostic Manual for Psychiatric Disorders. And the reason that I was looking for that is on yesterday, I had an opportunity to find myself in a situation with a person that for whatever reason, they were having difficulty just engaging with others. It was just a struggle being in the midst of a lot of people. And that's when I was reminded that when I first entered into the industry of healthcare, it was very important. Now, we're talking about 35 years ago, when there were people that were maladjusted, people that had difficulty adapting to different circumstances, they would identify the characteristics of their behavior and they gave them a DSM 3 diagnosis. And that enabled everyone around to know that this person may be battling with something. What has happened over time, and I don't know how this has happened, we have now reached a point in time in society and in our culture, in particular in our nation, where people that have challenges can, for lack of a better word, they can project the challenge onto you and I and make us feel as though we are possibly the cause of the challenge that they are faced with. When in reality, we're all given challenges. And the purpose of a challenge is not to break us, but the purpose of the challenge is to build us. So it's not necessarily a bad thing that people have different challenges and issues. But it is a bad thing if the issue is projected on others as a problem that they may have created. It's not society that creates our challenges. It's not what we normally think communing with others that creates the challenge. The challenge is oftentimes within us. So as we began now 4.5 weeks ago, over 40 days ago, in the process of this transformation, we have to now look at how do we surround ourselves with people that actually support the objective of us becoming better, of us doing more than we've ever done before, and actually unleashing the potential that's within us. And with that being said, that's where we come back to the concept of a garden. In the garden, however, as we put people in the garden, gardens require maintenance, which means we have to nourish, we have to encourage, and we have to motivate the people that are in our garden. But at the same time, there are times when we have to prune different plants or people plants that are inside of our garden. Remember, all behavior, just because it happens at the hands of another person, it's not always the right behavior. It's not even always the best behavior. But because we have allowed them into our garden, we now have a responsibility to make certain that the garden that we are responsible for creating and cultivating, that that garden stays healthy. In order to do that, pruning is necessary. So if we find that there is a plant or a person inside of the garden of our environment, this bed where we are going to grow and become who God has called us to be. If that person cannot take the pruning, we may look at possibly repositioning that particular plant to an area just outside of the parameter of our garden. Now, the reason this is important is because we can also make the fatal mistake. I'm not sure if you've ever done this, allowing someone to be too close to us and they create a toxic experience. And really, I'm not sure. Well, now I'm thinking about it. One of my sons, Andrew, he did this incredible garden in a bowl for me. And I can't think of what this thing is called for the life of me, but it's all of these cactus and all these different plants, and they're inside of this beautiful bowl. So amazing. This thing is huge, and I had it in my office on my desk. And then when we relocated, I moved it to my house until we moved into our new office. And I have to tell you, this thing is amazing, so beautiful. But what happened inside of the bowl, I ended up with some form of cacti that basically began to infect some of the others that were inside of the bowl. And in order for me to preserve the other ones that were so beautiful, I actually had to remove the one that was causing the harm. How did I figure out which one it was? Because I could notice that around that particular plant, there was a lot of dead leaves on the edges of the others. So I knew that was the one that needed to come out. Well, I could have left it in there. The problem with leaving it in there is it wouldn't have been healthy for the other plants. Now, how does that pertain to us? There is a call on your life. There is a purpose that God has placed inside of you. There is something that you have been put on the earth to achieve. And even though there are more years behind you than ahead of you, the job still belongs to you until you relinquish the assignment. I made a decision, and I believe we all made the same decision at the beginning of this journey, that we would take hold of the assignment that's been placed in our lives. And in order for us to fulfill that assignment, we have to cultivate a garden that supports, that encourages, that offers advice and correction, that offers reproof and rebuke, that offers guidance in the healthiest of ways, a garden where the plants support life and they support growth and they support and encourage health. That is what we're looking for in the garden that I am encouraging you to create. Now, what do we have to look forward to when the garden is finally complete? There is going to come a point with the people that are inside of the garden of your social circle. You will then be able to, from that garden, identify individuals that should become a part of what I'm going to call a think tank. A think tank. The call that God has put in your life and the purpose for which you are on the planet and are now a part of this journey of transformation is so great that you will not be able to complete it alone. If it is something that can be completed alone, I would submit to you that that is probably not the plan and the purpose that God has actually called you to. The call, if you will, is going to be something that is so great that it seems outside of your capability. It's going to be something that you say, man, can I do that? Are you sure? I need a sign. I need more confirmation that this is what I'm supposed to do. That's how you know it is an assignment truly for you for this season of your life. There's no way that you have 40 years, 4 decades plus behind you, and there's not an assignment that's so great that it requires the amalgamation of others, other creatives, other people that are gifted and talented and skilled. This assignment that you are being called to, it must be greater than you. And once you realize what it is, and you start building the garden of relationships around you, then you start identifying which of the plants in the garden are the strongest, which are the ones that are the most fruitful, the most engaging. And those, you start selectively identifying them to become a part of your think tank. And the purpose of the think tank, this is usually a group of 4 to 5 individuals that believe that there is a higher call on your life, and they are going to help you create the system to introduce or engage this gifting to the world. The think tank, very critical. As a matter of fact, the largest corporations in the world use a concept called the think tank. And I would encourage you to do some more research on it. The book that I would recommend that talks a lot about this is the book called Good to Great. And it's a great book. It's a pretty easy read. And it basically challenges us to think outside of the box that we're all good, that everything is okay, and to just imagine what if our okay is not actually great? So we can settle for okay because okay is good, but great is much better. I believe that there is a call on your life to do something greater than you've ever done. And in order to make that happen, you are going to have to cultivate a garden of growth, a garden of increase, a garden of support, a garden of encouragement, a garden of motivation, a garden of guidance. You need to create this garden of individuals around you, and they don't all have to be connected. What's interesting is there was a point in my life when I needed mentorship, but I didn't know who I could go to mentor me. I knew that there was more. I knew that I wanted to achieve a lot. I did believe that success and financial success and material accumulation, social success, I thought that was a part of my future, but how do you do it? Well, I didn't go to any one person and say, hey, listen, will you be my mentor? The reason I didn't do that is because that is a heavy load. That's a heavy load to place upon a person. So, what I decided to do, I selected my mentors from afar. They had no idea that they were mentoring me, but they were. I began to watch everything about them. So, and they were in different areas. A family oriented person that had a very successful family became my family mentor. A businessman that was very successful in business became my business mentor. Another person that was an educator, they became my communication mentor. Another person that was a spiritual leader became my ministerial guide or mentor. Why was this important? By not telling them, I was able to glean from them through the greatest method of all, observation, directly observing each and everything about them. I'm going to encourage you to do the exact same thing. Choose your mentor. You do not have to have a formal agreement or formal arrangement, and then make yourself available. Get into their social circle, assist them in areas where they need help. Never mention that you've identified them as a mentor. And I believe it'll be the extraordinary breakthrough that you've been looking for. Now, as we close, I want to leave you with a thought. If you do not cultivate the garden that you choose, by default, nature will create a garden around you. The difference is untended by natural occurrence, a garden untended becomes a field of weeds. So if you look behind me, there is grass that is being tended, and that grass has no weeds. This is how your garden has to be: good in, weeds out. So we want good plants in, weeds out. This is how to cultivate a garden. I'm going to encourage you that you get an opportunity because only you know that you're building the garden. The people you place in it don't even know they're in your garden. And the reason they don't know is it's not a literal garden, it's all in your mind. You build the relationships, you create the environment, you create the support system, you identify the mentors, and it's all done here. They never need to know. Once you make it to the other side of the goal, then you can begin to share. Or once you invite people into the think tank, which we'll talk more about in a future episode, that's when they will know that they've been instrumental in your life up until this point. With that being said, we're going to end now by recognizing our sponsor. The sponsor, our sponsor and host of the No Time to Waste podcast is Care Michigan. Care Michigan is a Troy based medical case management and care coordination company that specializes in working with individuals that have been severely injured in motor vehicle accidents. So if you or anyone you know has been severely injured in a motor vehicle accident in the state of Michigan, please call Care Michigan and let them know that you heard about them on the No Time to Waste podcast. Or you can visit their website at www.caremichigan.com. Finally, there is one last thought that I want to leave you with. If anything is going to be done, it must begin with you. The future that you desire can only be created by the person staring at you in the mirror. With that being said, let's make it happen. Let's seize the day. I believe in you, and I am excited that you're on this journey with me. Take care for now, and I'll see you in the next episode.